Please speak on the myth that you can achieve your way to happiness.
Brother, man, that's one of like the universal challenges, man, and it's something I think I believe for a long time, man. And I remember I wrote this sermon like, your attachments matter more than your achievements. Like the quality of your life is dependent on the quality of your relationships, man. Interestingly enough, I think one of the things I always said is that like if you built your life on if you built like the quality, your identity, your value on something that you could lose, right? You'll never have peace. And I think brothers and sisters in particular come to this place where there's been so many stories of people saying it. Like they got what they thought they wanted. And then it's like they get there and then it's a whole nother, they're like, wait, this wasn't what Jim Carrey talked about it, Madonna's talked about it, where it's kind of like, I thought I needed to make this much money. I thought I needed to do this. And then when they get there, they realize it's unfulfilling. Or they have now a new thing to say, I got there, now this is that. So now I thought 10 million was everything. Now I'm poor because now I need to get to 100 million. And it's just like, man, I always ask myself the question, why are those extra wealthy people, or those people who got all those things, why are they killing themselves? Why are they dealing with addiction? There's so many people I went to school with who had all this money in the world, but they were the ones that were doing the drugs or the high-end drugs or doing all the stuff. And I'm like, but they got the things that I want. And so why, and so you realize, I'm like, man, it's that these achievements don't mean nothing. I think to your point, the achievement is helpful, meaning that I think all of us want to live forever. What I mean by that is that, legacy, we hear brothers, we talk about legacy, man, like who am I, what is my name? And so a lot of times achievements is because you want to make a name for yourself and you want that to follow, right? But then you realize often the only way to really live forever, right? And that desire for legacy is like through people and the impact you have on people. And you realize like at the end of the day, this is fool's gold because there's always going to be a new level that I'm going to try to go through and I'm going to be unfulfilled. And even if I get it, I feel anxiety about keeping it. So then there's no getting off the hamster wheel, right? And again, I think this is an invitation for brothers to consider about faith. Because I'm saying, if everything of my lived reality is achieving and attaining things, and then even when I attain the things, I now have anxiety about keeping the things and not losing the things, where will I ever, people sleep but they don't rest. Where will I ever be able to have peace? And again, the number one, when I ask brothers, what can I pray for? The number one thing is peace. And so it does, and all brothers, whether they have been financially constrained or they have the fruits of some real labor financially, they have all been saying, I'm looking for peace. And so what do they all have in common? Maybe unconsciously the belief that the achievements, I can achieve my way to peace.
I think, man, that's one of the biggest tricks of capitalism. I was at my lowest point when I was the most successful in the eyes of society. And I think that a lot of people, they hear this story, so they believe themselves that if they acquire status, wealth, or any other thing that they're told, that will heal all the pain that they deal with internally. And I can tell you, bro, like personally, like things got real dark for me when things got real good. And I'm not talking about no self-sabotage. It's not like, oh, I don't feel deserving. Yeah. I'm talking about in regards to what I believe that achievement will do for me, or what I felt the accumulation of this wealth would do for me. I'm glad I experienced it early, so I got it out the way. So I give thanks for that, right? But at the same token, I can say I was at my most insecure and lowest point when, in the eyes of society, I would be like the most successful person.
Brother, man, when I say you help somebody, there's a lot of people going to be helped by what you said. There is, everybody knows, man, I don't know if you had siblings, man, growing up. I had siblings, man, and you have four of us, right? And we all greedy. And you ever like go out to eat and then you went to Sizzler or something like that? And then remember shout out to Sizzler on Route 1 by Menlo Park back in the day. So so you went to Sizzler and you had some food left over. You know what I'm saying? And you put that joint in the refrigerator, man. And bruh, you know what I'm saying? And you spent the entire day, man, you in class, man, like the thing's ringing, you're not even paying attention. You just thinking about that Sizzler, that teriyaki chicken or something like that you had. And then you go home and you've been setting up this crescendo of like, man, when I get back, you finish practice, not even talking to nobody. You get to the car, don't have gas in the car, you're like, I got enough. You get back home and you go in there and you anticipate, and you open that joint.
Gone.
And that joint is gone. The fury, not even just the fury, the gaping of your soul, bro. You're like, because you're anticipating this thing. As funny as it is, bro, it is so similar because you've been building up. And it's like your life. That's hunger. You may have starved yourself on purpose because you wanted that thing to be, I wanted to taste everything. But you've often starved yourself and you've starved your life. You've missed things, missed the time with your children, missed family stuff. There's stuff that maybe you can't go back in time and get back. You've missed things.
Miss your own personal health.
Miss your own personal health, bro. I've looked at myself at times. I remember that there was a period of time that I was not sleeping. I look at the lines in my eyes. I can't get it back. I've seen aged. There are people who I remember who are a friend of banquet and they doing well, but I'm looking at them, I was like, was it worth it? Like, it's like a ghost, right? Because it's aged you.
The weight.
It's aged you, the weight, the disconnection, the alienation from friendships. Man, I missed the wedding. Shoot, how many kids been born? You know how many friends I know, a friend whose like father was so well done, but he hates him because he was never around for any of his games. So now you get to that place, and that's the hunger. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm seeing all the trail of bones and the trail of bodies along the way. At least let me get here and have a good meal. And you get there, and you reach that plateau and achievement, and it's not there. Because now you're like, false bill of goods. And then look at what I sacrificed along the way. Was it worth it? And then when you had enough honesty with yourself, enough courage, and I call it testicular fortitude, to be able to be honest. There's a lot of people who they know the truth, but they can't come to terms because actually coming face to face with what they sacrificed of themselves, of other people around them, or what cost. And that's assuming somebody was high integrity.
I want to say one thing I have to add to it, which is a very important part we can't leave out. Image. People get so addicted to that image that they created, that persona, they don't want to leave it. I can say that me personally, I was able to, a lot of people when I left the industry I was in, they said I was crazy, this and that. And it was rough to leave, but I was willing to walk away from the image that I created because the image that I created wasn't me. I had this character, bro. I really created a character that was praised. And I created it to be praised, but the character wasn't me.
You remember we talked about earlier about love, and I always said like we're all made for love. We all made for love. Not necessarily romantic love, but we're all made to love. Think about often, this is not for everybody, how your life changes when, for example, let's say you were talking about resources. Let's say the achievement was the financial resource and stability. Your life changes a lot. The people around you, things change. The expectations of you change, right? Especially if it's exorbitant, or the dependencies or the expectations, and I always think about this. Sometimes it gets very hard to discern love when you have so much, because it's almost like the dynamic of when a few of my mentees are in the league, and it's just like, why are you here? Are you here because you love me, or are you here because you love what I can do for you? And so it'd even be harder to even choose a wife, to even know why did this family member I never talked to come back? Are they just around because they know if they ask I could do this? Or to your point, the image, now I have all these people, I have this power, but it's not really me. And so now in order for me to maintain those people and things, I have to be somebody I'm not. It's like, man, everybody when you're younger, we're honest, we ever told a lie before? It's not even a lie, bro. Keeping that lie it's like 50 tabs open in your Chrome. Like it's work. And it's like you better off telling the truth so you could be free. Similar, it's like is you better off living the truth so you could be free. And so that's when oftentimes when people ask questions about celebrity, particularly those with a lot of resources, why are they making this decision? Why is this happening? Or why did they do this? I have so much compassion because I'm just like, we all have that deep desire to be like known and loved for who we are. Like we want people to say, good job, you're somebody, but not based on the peacock outfit I have on, but based on who I truly am. and we're all manifesting it in different areas of our life. And so I could definitely relate to that. I can understand it. Like, all of us are playing tests, whether it's in life, marriage, friendship, work. Like, are you really here for me? Right? So again, I think that's scary. Going back to that idea of like, I've really built my entire life around this end of achieving these things. And I get to it and I realize it's not worth it. Another thing I'll share, I think will be relevant and poignant. We talked about family and community, right? All of this ties together with what you're saying. We're told to get things together, to achieve so that you could set things in place. But I think that it was well-intended, horrible advice. I think that we should have been investing more in relationships, right? Because now there's certain, they talk about the big rock theory. You got to put the big rocks in first, then you put the sand, because if you put in the sand, then you can't get in the big rocks. You have a dynamic where you have a whole generation. Our generation is the first one who we're really going to see the real fruit of those decisions, where you're trying to put in the big rocks for later. And now you're realizing life, shoot, I thought my achievement and this is great, but I got nobody to share it with. Or shoot, now I want to have a family, but it may be too late, right? Or right, and no one, this is hard. This is the uncomfortable truth, but this is this opens us up to healing, or at least being able to cope well. We confront the truth. Now you're sitting in it and be like, shoot, I didn't know why I'm depressed. I'm depressed because I actually come to terms with the fact that I've mortgaged what's most important for an achievement that I realized, and I opened the refrigerator door, and that fulfillment is not in there. That's what we're seeing, right? And so to your point, think about the implications. So now you have a whole set of unfulfilled where we built. That's what sells. I mean, that's what Instagram, social media, we all sell. It's the success, the achievement, the accumulation. So you now actually have something. People don't get married for marriage, they get married for the wedding. The photos, so you could show all the things, the achievement, look what I've achieved. People become achievements. So as I always said that if no one could show their spouse, more people would be married. Because now, if your spouse is a validation of what you've achieved, then there's only certain people you'll be with. It's almost like saying, I will only drive a Porsche.
Bro, say that again, yeah. Say that again.
If your spouse is a validation of your achievement, then there's only but so many type of people you want to be with. If it's a resume builder, this spouse validates that I'm beautiful. So now, for example, imagine if I'm a young lady where in my life I felt that no one thought I was beautiful. But now I'm considering someone to partner with, right? So think about it, in every other area of my life, and this applies to brothers too. I'm successful. I gotta have the markers of success. I got the range, right? I live in Alpine, New Jersey, right? I'm wearing the Louboutin, the red bottoms. Boom. I got the hair flowing. I got the pictures, the airbrushed, whitewashed, photos on Instagram. I got all that. Link in bio. I got all of that. That is the last piece. So it can't just be that I'm getting the Stacey Allen or I'm getting the Zara shoes. Because people don't know what the Zara shoes are, but they know what the Louboutin is when I put the red bottom on. I can't just get somebody that I may like. I got to get somebody that everybody would say, oh, that's good. And so whether or not that's attainable, you are validating my beauty, my success. So you need to look the part. So now you have people, male and female, saying, there are people that you'd be amazing partner with, amazing husband and wife too. But because there's a thwarted view of yourself, there's a thwarted view, I know society accepts that beauty, I know society accepts that man, I need to be with him. So now the idea that you're telling me that I can't be with that is like saying that I can't go to Harvard. It's like saying that I can't go to these things. It's saying that I can't get the range. I want the best. But we're talking about human beings, but that's the best.
You just summed up the toxic dating culture. And that's why people say there's a lack of available spouses, but that's not the case.
That's
you just want something. You don't want a spouse. You just want something to show off or validate you.
That's like somebody saying, you have a car that you could afford. I will, but no, you have $50,000 in your account. No, I'm not going to drive a car unless it is a range. And all subject to it. I'm not just throwing on it, I'm all subject to it. And I think even if you've gotten married, some part of accepting the gray and the messiness of your marriage. The confronting the fact that, wow, this person is a mirror, but they got issues. Or they see the issues in me. You know what I mean? Or they're not always, sometimes you gotta reconcile and redeem that even in real time, right? To your point that you asked a question, I think we're all, I think it's hurt us so much, where we don't see people as humans anymore. Or, I think to the point we talked about value, if I have an endowed value to myself, I don't need, or I have a less reliance about outside validation. So, for example, you know, growing up, I love relating to this joint. Like, we used to go to people's houses and be like, when if they ask you to eat, say, if they ask you if you're hungry, say no, right? You know, it's almost like, I don't want you walking around here like we don't feed you at the house, right? And so if you're full, you go out to the world less hungry, right? I think there's this dynamic of like, if I'm full with, I am endowed, I am valuable, it's not dependent upon what my boys say, what the people say, this is my wife, she takes good care of me, this are my kids, this is what I could afford, so I'm not gonna get a lease for $900 when I could afford this $200 one and maybe the Camry, but cool. You make different decisions the more secure you are in who you are, right? And so now you're gonna make a different decision on financial, career. Yo, if I really love teaching kids. And I may not have all the Instagrammable stuff like that, but I not just love it, I feel called to it. I'm saying this to myself. Then there's a view of, you know what, man, that woman loves me. She respects me. That's love for men, we know. She respects and honors me. She may not look like, and this is internal thought, I'm not saying we say this publicly. This may not be in your head, but now you're able to make sobering decisions, or that brother cares for me, he may not be making $500K, but that brother cares for me, he's faithful, and like, we would make so many different decisions if we knew our value. We think we know our value by saying, no, I know my value, that's why I need to have that. No, that actually is evidence that you don't know your value. A lot of times people may hear this. I don't think particularly your audience, I think your audience is learned. But sometimes people may hear this to say like they're saying that we shouldn't have good, nice things. Not at all.
It's a relationship with him, bro.
It's the relationship. It's like good things. There's this concept of idolatry. And typically people think idolatry is like worshiping golden calves and photos. And no. It's when you make good things ultimate things, right? To say like, I love my child, but if my child, I worship my child, right? You'll crush your child because you'll be like, you can't fail, you can't do this, because you have an unhealthy relationship. The good, now you took it to an extreme, right? It's the same dynamic where it's kind of like, it is good, but like, is it only, brother, I could relate, man. There've been times when I'm in, like, I was so tied to it, like, I can't go to this thing because I don't got nothing to wear. You got something to wear, but you want to wear something new. And you may not have, the numbers may not be, you know, at the end of your month, your actuals, the way it's falling, you're like, shoot, I may not be able to get the new fresh this and this and this to wear this because they see me in this. So you're literally going to forsake going to this very important event and to spend time with these people because you need to put different cotton fiber on your body. That's real talk, bro. Even though your face is the same. You just, you know what I'm saying? It's like you know, it's like you're on a plane. I can understand a different experience of it, but it's like we all going to the same place. They're sitting up a couple rows up, but we at the end of the day we're still going from A to B. That's the authority. That's the cost. That's the collateral damage of it. It's not just like the insecurity, which is an internal thing, and like, yo, bro, your mindset's off. It's like, it actually costs us things. We make decisions or we do things and we don't do things. We overspend, we underspend, we devalue people, we overvalue people, we overwork, right? I often think that even sometimes the conversation, though I think there's a valid conversation about having your financial affairs in order as best as possible. I think there's sometimes it's a cover for our relationship to consumerism, which has become another god. And so there's this idea where it's like, oh no, we need to have money, you know, or you know, cost of living, and we need to, yeah, things are expensive. No one's gonna argue all that. But I'm like, what do you really need to survive?
How are you living, bro?
How are you living? And so if your idea of survival is that I need to have these cars, I need to live here, we need to be able to do these things, you don't want to cook, none of y'all, so you're sitting there like every day you're eating out and spending like $100 a day on this or that, the consumerism blinds you from actually what's sustainable, right? And so you don't know that. And so now you're overworking or you're overspending, and you're like, yo, you don't have these are not keys of your success. These are not validations of that. If you're secure to say, yo, no, we are, at the end of the day, what's most important? To your point, attachments more than your achievements. Your relationships with people, your relationships matter more than your achievements, because those things will last. Those things actually give you value. And so at the end of the day, you say you get the car, you ride red fog, because you want somebody to see it, right? And I always say, like, yo, I give this idea, like, I'm finding this more and more the more I'm living my life now, where it's not that I've always been ambitious, right? Brothers, I'm like, it's like a lion ambition, but like, it's a different ambition, right? Where it's redirected. I don't care as much about like the grind. I work, I get up early, I work out, I work. But it's just like, I'm not trying to be successful. I want to have a life. I want to make sure that my parents are taken care of, that I can spend time with my wife, that we can have children, that we can enjoy life together, that I make love to my wife, that we enjoy, we go out to eat, we enjoy our time, that things happen in the world, I could share it, she can come back, I could snuggle with her, you know what I mean? I could be out with my kids, I could see them develop, I could laugh, we could watch movies. Like the things that actually that I care more about is relational based, as opposed to just attainment based. And I realized I'm like, those are the things that give color. It's like the black and white, you know, when you see those things where like they show the old black and white and they put it in color, right? Like the relationships give color. Like they bring it alive. They make your life alive. And so I'm just like, you don't want to learn that too late. And I think you realize now the past 5 years, my relationships, because of the pandemic, I was running around taking care of people, family crisis, stuff like that. I got disconnected from a lot of even my outer core relationships. I'm like, no, I'm gonna double down. Because I know that at the end of the day, I'm never gonna regret that investment. Because the people, man, is what makes it, bro.